The face is the only place where women can show their beauty, Sahar told me. She said that's why some women use quite a lot of makeup and some even make nose surgeries. She personally doesn't like it, but she understands the reason. In Iran, there is a dress code for women. You have to cover your head, your arms, your hips, your legs down to your ankles. Your place for your own expression of beauty is really concentrated on your face. According to studies, violence against women increases in Austria. Nevertheless, last summer 2018, the Austrian government stopped financing feminist magazines and projects working against violence against women. Funding for important women's associations and projects was shortened or even cut. I want to ride a motorcycle. For women in Iran, it's not officially forbidden to ride a motorcycle. But it's really inappropriate in the opinion of society, such as smoking on the street. Especially virgins should not ride a motorbike. For men, on the contrary, it's not inappropriate to smoke on the street or to ride a motorbike. The wife of Nasila's brother dressed up as a man for one day, 2 years ago. She cut her hair and wore men's clothing. For one day, she did everything men are allowed to do and women are not. She was riding a motorbike and smoked on the street. She really felt free that day. I remember a neighbor in my childhood. It must have been in the beginning of the 90s. She was a grown-up woman with 2 children. Her name was Christine. At the age of around 40, Christine wanted to get her driving license. And her husband refused to allow her. They had tough fights, but in the end she won. I want to travel all over the world easily. Raha told me that as an Iranian woman, she needs the permission of her husband, father, or another male relative to get a passport to travel abroad. She can't just decide to make a trip. Her husband or her father have to go to the office and sign the permission. Men, on the other hand, don't have to ask anybody for permission to travel. My friend Brigitte remembers that her mother wanted to get her own passport as soon as it became legal in Austria in the 1970s. My father really got angry and they discussed very hard, Brigitte told me. He really didn't want his wife to have an own passport. It nearly seemed that he was afraid that she could run away from him with her new passport. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Kian's parents come from Iraq. She was born in Iran, but she couldn't speak Persian until she was 6 years old, she told me. She was an outsider among the other children. She was teased because she is an Arab. Now she studies English and works in a school for 1 day a week. She works secretly because her parents don't want her to work. Her brothers support Kian to do the things she wants to do. Martin told me that his mother Hedwig came from a workers' family and she was the only one in the family who was allowed to get an education as a kindergarten teacher. When Martin was 10 years old, she worked in her first job in a kindergarten. Even if Martin's father Joseph never complained directly, he was quite embarrassed by his wife working. After 2 or 3 weeks working, Martin's father became ill with pneumonia, a quite serious disease. Short time later, Martin got ill as well. To be able to take care of her child and her husband, she quit her job. Martin's mother never started working again, which she obviously regretted badly. For the rest of her life, she accused Martin and his father of having become ill purposely to stop her from working. I really want to be a stunt woman. I met Arisu in a course for martial arts. She participates in this course to become a stunt woman in action films, she told me. She said she loves risk and she loves danger. She even would like to die in a car accident. She loves to do dangerous sports, but in Iran she's not allowed to. So she went abroad for parachuting and bungee jumping. She really loved it. I grew up in the countryside of Austria. 1997, I finished secondary school and changed to high school. In Austria, that's a school where you can pass an exam after 4 years to get your qualification for a university entrance. In school, I had a friend. Her name was Ingrid. Her father didn't want her to take this exam. In his opinion, she didn't need to study as a woman. For the sake of her father, she went to another school and didn't study later, even if she was a very, very intelligent woman. Women are humans like men. Since December 2017, there is a wave of imprisonments in Iran. Women go to jail for protesting peacefully for women's rights by taking off their hijab in public. Vida Mohaved was the first who stood on a telephone box in Teheran, took off her white hijab and waved it like a flag. She was arrested. Since then, a lot of girls and women repeat her action and get imprisoned as well. The day Vida Mohaved did her protest action was a Wednesday. Because of her white hijab, it's called White Wednesday. Among feminists in Iran, it's common to wear a white hijab every Wednesday as a sign of protest. Paternal violence was phased out in Austria in 1978. Paternal violence means that wife and children are under guardianship of the husband. The husband had the right of legal representation and corporal punishment. Furthermore, he had legal access to his wife's money and he was authorized to use her working power. Fortunately, that changed in 1978. In the same year, the first shelter for battered women opened in Austria. Respect human rights. Yasamin wanted to travel to America to visit her mother, who lives there. She went to the American embassy in Armenia, but didn't get a visa, she told me. The reason was she is Iranian. This was a really bad experience for her, she told me. It felt claustrophobic, and moreover, she felt her human rights restricted. In the most European countries, abortion has been decriminalized in the 1970s. This was an important achievement to allow women to decide autonomously when and if they want to get children. In Malta, a European country, abortion is still forbidden. Ireland finally permitted abortion last summer in 2018. Poland has one of the strictest abortion laws in Europe. In 2018, Poland's government planned to even tighten their strict abortion law. The right-wing party PiS wanted to forbid abortions completely and threatened doctors with being jailed. The result were mass protests in the streets of Poland. Most Polish women go abroad to do an abortion, which can be really dangerous for their health or even for their lives. The right-wing parties of Italy, Germany, Hungary and Austria also tried to step backwards concerning legal access to abortion in their countries. Everything is possible. Mahsa told me that it's still very common in Iran that women should marry a man who is in a good economic situation. But Mahsa's opinion about marriage is that it is more important to fall in love. When her friends ask her for advice, she always says, "Listen to your pussy." For her, it means something like, listen to your heart, listen to your feeling. Pussy is quite a rough word to say in Persian. It's really taboo. Mahsa also uses this word on purpose, because in her opinion, women's sexuality should no longer be tabooed. Until 1989, rape in marriage was legal in Austria. Since then, fortunately, rape in marriage is forbidden and punishable. I love to be free and to do everything I want. Shireen is 21 years old. She told me that her grandmother is very worried because she isn't married yet. In her grandmother's opinion, life is over when a woman doesn't get married before the age of 20. And what happens if you don't get married at all? I asked Shireen. Then people think you must have some kind of problem or a deficit, a lack of something, because nobody wanted to marry you, Shireen explained me. Or you have a bad past. On the other hand, it's no problem when a man is not married, or when he marries at the age of 40. In Austria, unmarried mothers didn't have the same rights concerning their children as married mothers until 1989. Legally, their children were under guardianship of the state and not of the mother. My mother was not married as well. It was some years ago when I first learned that even I was under guardianship of the state until the age of 6. Even if I remember the regular visits at the office as positive experiences, I was a bit shocked when my mother told me about this.